Ever since Hogwarts Legacy was leaked in 2018, I've been simping over it more than Dobby simps over Harry. When we got a trailer in 2020, I was even more hyped. Since then, I have avoided to look at too much of the coverage of this game because I want to go into it semi-blind. To give some backstory, I'm a big Potterhead. I've seen all the movies many times. They're kind of my go-to comfort movies. I've read the books, I've listened to the audiobooks. Overall, I'm just a big fan of this world, and I believe that this game has a huge potential. I've never personally played a Harry Potter video game before, I think maybe except Lego Harry Potter, which was pretty fun, but there have been several over the years, but I think this one has the most hype around it. Gaming, after all, has grown a lot over the last decade, and this game has been the top seller on Steam for weeks now. I know pre-ordering is bad, and I agree that you should never pre-order a game. Unfortunately, they decided to launch this game with a 3-day head start if you get the Deluxe or Collector's Edition, which is pretty dumb. Money comes first to these AAA companies, but that's a topic for a whole different video. Today, I wanted to discuss the potential this game has and what could be involved with the story, spells, potions, and more. There could be a quest line where you open the Chamber of Secrets and explore it. Maybe find some cool loot down there. After all, Salazar Slytherin did create it when the school was created, so it should be in the game. Maybe a Slytherin character could unlock it somehow. There could also be quest lines in the Forbidden Forest, like where you get to explore and see all the dangerous creatures. Like they discuss vampires and werewolves in the book, so maybe that could be involved. What I am really hoping is that you could be a dark wizard in this game. All I want to do is just like be in Death Eater. But, you know, Death Eaters didn't exist until Voldemort came around, as they were his followers, but they had some really cool dark magic, and the way they flew, like with the black smoke in the movies, just looked awesome to me. Speaking of flying, I did see some footage of flying in this game. You can like fly in broomsticks, there's also some mounts. I don't expect this to be like super fleshed out like dragon riding and WoW or anything like that, but I think it'll be a fun way to explore the grounds and everything. One thing that would be fun is that if you could play Quidditch, I'm not sure if you can. I kind of doubt it, but maybe down the line they could add some DLC or something. I'm thinking it could play like one of those like sport games like FIFA, but nothing super complex, you know, but that is asking for a bit much. We'll have to see. I just checked if there is gear in this game, and there is, which is very exciting because there are a lot of interesting items in the world of Harry Potter. For instance, the Elder Wand, the Invisibility Cloak, and the Resurrection Stone are the first things that come to mind. The Elder Wand is the most powerful wand in the wizarding world, and as such, it should be hard to obtain if it is in the game. Maybe it could be locked behind a difficult quest line with hard puzzles and bosses. I think it would be cool if the Invisibility Cloak was obtainable early on in the game. Like in the books, Harry gets it in his first year, and I'm not sure if these items are going to be in the game. It's definitely a possibility, and I think it'd be really fun. Gear in RPGs can be hit or miss, and I hope Hogwarts Legacy gets it right. There is also a skill tree in this game, which is typical for most RPGs to have nowadays. I personally don't think they're required, but if they are implemented properly, they can definitely enhance the gameplay. Tailoring a build to your playstyle is really fun, and you can make the game more interesting from it. For example, I want to be like a dark wizard, so I'm going to focus all my talents on like increased combat if there are those talents. And like if they have a talent tree that focuses on the dark arts, that's where I'm going to be putting all my points in. There are a lot of possibilities here though. Like there could be a potions talent tree where you can craft unique potions and have them as like an increased effectiveness on you. The Witcher 3 and Skyrim had similar builds you could do with this, and like alchemy, and if I remember correctly, they were both like really overpowered builds. There could also be a transfiguration talent tree where you maybe could turn objects into animals or spirits that might fight for you, sort of like a minion build. Overall, I like talent trees in RPGs, and I'm pretty excited to play around with this one. Now, when it comes to the RPGs, the most important thing to me is the combat. My expectations for this game's combat is for it to be pretty decent. Having just one archetype of combat in an RPG is lacking, and obviously spellcasting is the only combat that fits in the Harry Potter world. However, with potions and gear, perhaps it can alter some of the spells or enhance them in some different ways to make casting spells feel good to use. The animation should be tight and exciting. I'm happy to say that it does look like this is the case. From what we have seen so far, the animations and combat look really compelling. We'll have to see how it feels when the game comes out though. Tying it in with animations are the graphics, and personally, graphics in video games don't really matter to me that much. I enjoy games with both good and, pixelated graphics. Having said that, I think the art style is important, and as someone with no talent in art, I know this can be subjective. The graphics in Hogwarts though, Hogwarts Legacy, they look amazing. I'm really excited to crank up my graphics all the way up when I first see a scenic view and then walk around with like 15 FPS because my computer is starting to age a little bit. Another form of art that I think is underrated in video games is the sound design. I'm talking about like the sounds when you cast spells, open doors, walking, flying. Everything in games have sound, and it really adds to dopamine levels if done properly. Music is obviously in every game as well, and there are some games out there that have incredible soundtracks I listen to even when I'm not playing the game. World of Warcraft, Skyrim, and Doom are some that just pop up to my head. The music in Harry Potter movies are really excellent, and each movie kind of brings songs that help emphasize the mood of the scenes. The Half-Blood Prince is my favorite movie soundtrack out of all of them, personally. They could use some of these songs within the Hogwarts Legacy, but I hope they also created unique tracks to just help the game overall. The Harry Potter franchise is one of the most popular in the world, and it all originated from the books. This is because of the main focus of that medium is storytelling. Now, storytelling in video games is often the main focus for like single player games. After all, if the story doesn't resonate with the player, then the goals and objectives of the game won't mean much. My favorite story games that come to mind are The Last of Us, Red Dead Redemption 2. I was constantly excited to play those stories because I never knew what was coming next. Like when Sean gets shot in Red Dead 2, it was completely unexpected and added a lot to the story. After that, it felt like anyone could easily die in this world, and it made fulfilling Dutch's goals and saving the camp all the more important. The same thing can be said many times over with The Last of Us. But out of all the topics discussed today, I believe the story is one of the most important aspects that Hogwarts Legacy should have, and I really hope that the developers had the same mindset and that they created a good story. Lastly, I want to discuss the replayability of this game. Personally, I usually just play single player games once and then call it a day, but I know a lot of people like to try out different things in separate playthroughs or even 100% complete a game. Elden Ring, for example, has a lot of replayability with like New Game Plus and the variety of different builds and weapons you can go. I think Hogwarts Legacy will have a good amount of replayability. There are 4 houses in each one. Most likely has like different quest lines to explore. They also have their own common rooms, which you can't really enter if you're not in that house. I'm mostly excited about the Slytherin one. I don't know why, but why do I want to be evil like in every video game? Like, what does that say about me as a person? But besides that, there are many different builds you can explore through the talent tree, which does add more replayability to the game as well. I'm not too sure if you can respec in this game. If you can't, then it's kind of force you to make another character to try other builds out. Depending on how fun I think it is, I'll go with like 2 playthroughs, one where I'm evil and other where I'm good. I did this with like the Fable series, which was really fun because if you were evil, your character in game like grew horns and then flies started to buzz around you all the time. People in the streets would run away from you as well. On the flip side, if you were good in Fable series, like a halo floated above your head and you had like a certain glow to you, I think you also got like discounts on vendors and stuff. I wish more RPGs did this sort of thing because it was just another layer of progression that wasn't tied to gear or talent trees. It was tied to your choices in the world and the decisions you made on how, if you wanted to help or harm people, and how the world responded to you was a thing too. There are many other features that this game could have, and some of these involve like the Marauders map, the Pensieve, the Mirror of Arrested, or not saying that right, Arthur's flying car, and even more. Overall, Hogwarts Legacy has a lot of potential, and I am extremely excited for it. My birthday is on February 8th, so this feels like a mini birthday present. Last year, Lost Ark released around the same time, and it was a terrible birthday. Just kidding. That game was pretty fun for a while. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the game and what you're most excited for. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It helps me out a lot. 98% of you guys are not subscribed. Sad. But I'll see you guys in the next video.
Mischief managed.
Mischief managed.